Dear Laura by Gemma Amor. Every year on her birthday, Laura gets a letter from a mysterious stranger. It all started when one day, Laura was the sole witness to her best friend Bobby being kidnapped. A year and a day later, on Laura's 14th birthday, she receives a mysterious letter. A letter from a man claiming to know what happened to Bobby, and he's willing to give her some information for a price. This book is gritty, it is grotesque, it is disturbing, it is realistic, it is icky, and I wasn't anticipating this book to be that good. I only picked up this book because it was recommended to me on Kindle. It was a Kindle Unlimited, I assumed it was going to be okay, it's the Halloween season, I was ready for a creepy read. I was not anticipating such a good, disturbing, grotesque, crazy read. And it's the first time I've ever read a book where I was having trouble sleeping. I'm a big fan of Stephen King, I mention that all the time. But usually Stephen King has fantastical elements, and it's very easy for me not to be disturbed and super scared from killer clowns or vampires or whatnot. Because I could always lie to myself and say, or not lie to myself, I could always tell myself, well, these things aren't real. There's nothing to be scared of. But Dear Laura lacks any fantastical elements, which makes it more real, more down to earth, and just more scary. Some trigger warnings about Dear Laura you should be made aware of. If you can't handle violence and abuse of children or predatory acts towards these children, this book is not the book for you. I'm not even sure if this book was the book for me. I wasn't anticipating it. It's very triggering in that respect. Books where scary things happen to children are the books that scared me the most. That's why my favorite Stephen King novel, or I should say, the Stephen King novel that touched me the most was The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. A story about a girl who's lost in the woods and she's trying to fight for her survival. It's because it's realistic. And horrible things happening to children just makes a bunch of empathy spring forth from my heart and my spirit. And anyone with children will read Dear Laura and be like, oh my gosh, this could happen. This book is disturbing. I hope this never happens to my children. That's what I was thinking when I was reading it. I wouldn't say I enjoyed reading Dear Laura, but I was incredibly compelled, and I felt honor-bound as a parent to see this story through to the end. One of the most interesting factors of this read was seeing how Laura's years of abuse shapes the way she views life, shapes the way she views others, shapes the way she views herself, and you really see how trauma affects this young woman as she grows into an adult, and it's just so real. You know, anyone who's dealt with trauma, abuse in their past, it affects them, and affects them for the rest of their lives. And this book was very realistic in that respect. We are often a product of our environment, and Laura, our protagonist, is no different. There are many factors that make Dear Laura a very difficult read, but at the same time, I couldn't put the book down. And the short chapters just further exasperated this binge read mode this book was putting me in, because every chapter is only 2 or 3 pages, and there's constant time jumps, and I was like, what's going to happen to Laura? What's going to happen to her next? Does she find Bobby? Does she defeat this monstrous individual? And this book, though there is a feeling of catharsis at the end, this is a book where there is no perfect happily ever after ending, because oftentimes horrible circumstances are never tied off perfectly. You have scars, you have traumas, you have to deal with the fallout of all those bad things that happened to you. So if you're looking for happily ever after fairy tale ending, you won't like the ending of this book. But the ending of this book is very realistic, and I respect the author for pulling it off so well. One thing that I was reminded of while reading Dear Laura was there is evil in this world. No vampires, monsters, killer clowns needed. There's plenty of evil just alive in humanity. And this book definitely made me think about a lot of things, especially as Halloween's right around the corner. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a book to scare the pants off of you before Halloween, then I definitely think you could enjoy Dear Laura, or at least be compelled, and at least be intrigued by this read. Just one hint, one little word of advice. Read it after your children get home. Because if you read it before, you might not let them leave. Thank you guys for watching this book review video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, push the little thumbs up icon below. Subscribe to my channel if you want to hear me talk about any other books, creepy and or not creepy. And I'll see you guys next time.